What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here. In this training, we're going to talk about transfer admissions, basically a one-on-one kind of training about all things the transfer pathway. What is it? Who is it for? Should you do it or not do it? If you are going to do it, how are you going to do it correctly? If it's our very first time meeting, my name is Coach Tony. I've been helping families with the college admissions process for over 16 years now, starting as my time as a UC Berkeley admissions reader. So as a reader, I used to read and evaluate college applications, recommended yes to a few, recommended no to a lot more. And doing so, you start to understand why the yes students get in, why the no students don't get in as well. So in this training, we're going to kind of break it down from the perspective of a transfer student. It's very similar. So a lot of high school students, if you're in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, you will be applying as a freshman applicant, no matter how many college credits, college units, or anything that you have. In theory, you're applying as a college freshman, and then you kick you in, but you're applying as a college freshman. This training is going to be focused on, hey, if you go to transfer pathway, what does that mean? Okay, so let's dive right in. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Again, transfer admissions pathway, the training here. So a few things, right? So first off, let's talk, why do students transfer? It's one of the big questions we get a lot. People used to think, I think, got a lot better, but the stigma that usually comes a lot is these are for students who did bad in high school, right? That's definitely one of the biggest things when you hear about transfer students. Oh, they did really bad in high school itself. And you hear that a lot with a lot of transfer students. However, right? However, this is starting to slowly go away because a lot of students actually did pretty good. It's not a thing for students who didn't do well, right? As well, too. There could be other factors involved, too. One of the factors, right? Let's say money. That's probably one of the big factors, right? Money. All right. These colleges, when you look at like a UC Cal State school, you're looking at between 10 to like 18,000 in tuition only, not including housing. So if you're living there, you're looking at between 26 to like 40,000 in tuition plus housing at these schools, right? Multiply by 4, right? Times 4, you're getting to 100K plus, right? And just college payments. Oops, that is a lot of money, right? Is number one, right? So transfers, though, cuts this cost pretty much in half, is number one. So again, from a very pure practical money point of view, dual enrollment, community college is a great way, or transferring is a great way to save some money here. The second factor a lot of people transfer as well too is distance slash, like, I don't know, group and family, because this happened a few times as well too, right? What this is like, let's say we helped some of our students this past, not past year, probably year before last year. I had like 2 students who got into amazing schools, right? Money was not an issue. They got enough financial aid to cover as well too, but something happened to family. Something happened that they need to stay near home. Let's say they got into a far school, but they want to go, but right, they had to take care of some family business, stay near home, perhaps needing to stay near home for another year, right? As well too, we had one really awesome student. She got into Berkeley and LA, but something happened to mom. This is like, I think, 4 years ago, right? She got into both schools, stellar grades, right? But something happened to mom. She had to stay home for another year, take care of her family. She's the oldest immigrant households, we all know. Oldest has taken a lot of responsibility. So it was really disappointing that she couldn't go right away. But how I told her, hey, let's just go stay in her home. Let's still do the stuff. You got it once, you'll probably be getting it again. And she did. She figured it out. It took her a year to figure out the family situation at home. And then she transferred again the second time, gone to Berkeley, LA, and also included a few more private schools like Stanford and other ones as well too. So again, keeping in mind, right, there's a lot of factors than just the school. Money, distance, and a lot of other factors as well too. Again, this is, I would say, plug in your own kind of answer here, because there's tons of reasons why people transfer versus going straight in here. Okay, so let's talk about transfer admissions one-on-one. What is transfer admissions? how does it work, right? So let's do a little bit one-on-one. So when in terms of high school, right? When you're a high school student, you go ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and you graduate high school graduation and college, right? That's pretty much the pathway it takes to get from one to the other, right? If you go the college pathway here, let's go extend it a little more, right? Then you're gonna go from here, you're gonna go first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and then college graduation. That's gonna be the extended path even more, right? The whole way through itself. Okay, so these are the 4 years you take and you will earn your college degree, your bachelor's of science, bachelor's of arts, and you're going to get that here. Okay, let's talk about the other way. What if you go the transfer route, right? The transfer route itself. This is the I would say the traditional high school route, right? Is that the transfer route? So with this one, you're going all through high school, right? 9, 10, 11, 12. But you're going to go community college first, community college second, right? What do you community college? Because we'll talk about that in a little bit. Because again, this should be community college or also 4-year transfer. There's both of those transfers available. But the more common one is the community college route. So community college is community college first year, community college second year. Then you transfer, right? You transfer into the fourth year, third year, and then you finish, you go to your fourth year, and then you have a college graduation. Okay, so that's kind of how the community college pathway looks like here. Both degrees, right? Both degrees above look identical to each other. No one knows if you are a transfer student or not. If you looked at somebody, you cannot tell they were a transfer student unless they told you, hey, I'm a transfer student, right? Or they show you the resume. You see that they did transfer as well too. But there's nothing difference between the diplomas. It's exactly the same that you get, right? Employers may not know either because you're saying, hey, I graduated from the school. Cool. That's what they'll see as well too. Okay, so one is that's gonna be the different route, right? Talking about a little bit also on the why, expanding a little bit more right here, right? These first and 2 years, let's say you go to the community college route, you go first year at again, community college first year, community college second year, third and fourth, right? Third and fourth. Right here, if you went the traditional 4-year route, right? You'd go first, second, third, fourth is how this one will go. Each of these years, you're learning stuff, right? In college, you're taking 2 types of classes. You're taking your general education classes one more time. So in high school, you take English, history, math, science. In college, right? That's what your first 2 years is again, also your general education classes. Then you do your pre-major classes and you take your major classes, right? That's the set of classes that you will be taking in college, no matter what school you end up going to, right? So with that, when you go to this year, usually your first and second year, right? You're doing your general education and pre-major classes, first and second year, right? Guess what you're doing in the community college year 1, year 2? You are also doing general education and pre-major classes. Year 3 and year 4 is going to be your major classes itself, right? Third and fourth here. So in terms of pure classes that you take, there is no difference of the requirements because if you go community college, your first 2 years, you're doing GEs and your pre-major or prerequisite classes. If you go to a 4-year, you're also doing general education and your prereq classes as well too. What's the difference? The difference, there's two big differences, right? Number one is the cost. The cost of a 4-year school, I mentioned this earlier, between 20 something and 30 something, $40,000, right? At a 4-year school, you're paying 26 to like $36,000 in tuition plus housing as well too. If you don't take out housing, that cuts out a lot more, but around that much, right? If you go to a community college, right? You go to a community college, you're paying about $50 per unit. A typical class is about 3-4 units, right? So you're paying about $150, $200 per class. An average semester, you take like 3-4 classes, right? So you do the math all the way through a year, you're gonna pay around $2,000 a year for your classes. as well too. Even if you moved out of home and you pay whatever rent is, right? It's still a lot less than what you're paying up here as well too. So that's one thing, right? So community college is only 2,000 a year. The classes are the same. You take it at the community college, you take it at the 4 year school. 4 years cost a lot more. And again, this is $2,000. I think this is total. I think mathematics is total. No, it's per year, per year. So total 2 years is gonna be 4K. This one, 2 years is gonna be closer to like 50 to 90. No, math can't do math. 70, right? 50 to 70K over the 2 years itself there. Huge difference. You go community college and buy yourself a car with the difference there, right? So as one is the cost. Number two is the experience. So this is the justification. If you're like, oh, should I go community college? Should I go 4 years? Here's the argument for the 4 year. If you're thinking about that, is the first year college experience is pretty much is irreplicable. Meaning, I haven't found an opportunity where, like, imagine this: they're 18-year-olds. They just finished school. They're adults. They're legal adults for the first time, and you're pulling them all in a hall together with random strangers who are also lost. This is their first time away from home as well, too. So if everyone is lost together, there's a special bond that happens with that. That's why I tell students, yeah, if you can go to the first year, go dorm, go live, because that's going to be a huge learn. You learn really fast about life. You learn about friendship. You learn about taking care of yourself and everything in a really, really fast way. Like for me, those of you guys who know my story, I got into UCI full ride. I got into UCLA full ride. My parents told me, you guys stay at home for if you go to one of those two schools. I turned both full rides down to go to UC Berkeley. Not a full ride, but it was so far away from home that I could not commute every day to there. So I lived there and I learned so much about being an adult, like taking care of myself really fast in that 1 year if I was to stay at home. Not saying I never would have learned it. It's just that it was a much faster learning curve for me there. I loved it, right? So that's the one thing. If you do community college, again, can you kind of replicate that ish? You can, but I've never seen another time in your life ever really where everyone's lost together, right? Everyone's kind of almost on the same playing field. Everyone's being treated normally because nobody people know anything. So I think that's the one argument for the transfer route itself. But kind of going back, I would say those are the two biggest differences between the two, right? So now let's talk about what does that really look like. So basically, if you're thinking about transferring, right, you're basically gonna take 1 to 2 years. It's typically 1 to 2 years of your GE and pre-major classes, right? Because basically you're telling the 4 year school, I'm going to finish all I'm going to do at the 1 to 2 year level, and then I'm going to finish my majors at the actual 4 year school itself. Okay, so that's the biggest difference here, right? Some schools do allow one, like example of one is USC, right? USC is one of the schools that allows 1 year transfers too, right? When it comes to transferring, you apply literally almost like the same thing as a high school senior. You apply in the fall, and then you find out in spring, and you enroll the following spring, right? So if you are, let's say, so example, right? Example, if you are currently a first semester, a fall first year college student, I mean, if you're watching this call right now and it's the fall semester, you're a first year community college or first year 4 year college student, and you're looking to transfer eventually, right? You won't be applying this year because this year you'll be doing it. So then you'll be going. Then spring, you're still taking classes, right? As well too. Summer, taking classes, doing your thing, and then the next fall you'd apply here, right? You'd apply next fall, right? You'll find out next spring, and then you'd transfer the following fall you'd be transferred to the new school that you're going to end up at. So that's kind of the pathway of a transfer student itself. Something I'll talk about as well too, like I mentioned earlier, there's two types of transfers. There's the community college, junior college to a 4 year, and there's a 4 year to a 4 year. For example, right? So I think you guys know the first one, right? Community college to 4 years, pretty easy. It's the community college to your 4 year school. And there's also 4 year to 4 year, right? What this is like, let's say you want to go from a Cal State to a UC. You want to go UC to a UC. You want to go to a UC to a private, for example, right? So whatever the combinations are, all this is grouped under 4-year to 4-year. Between these two, just to share kind of what we're taught as readers as well too, is that if you think about 4-year students, potentially, right, could finish up at their 4-year and be fine in life, right? They can graduate there, they got in, they're gonna finish, their degree is gonna be awesome, they're gonna use it, and they're good there. However, 2 years needs to go to a 4-year school, right? So a 2-year, that's it. You have nothing else to do. Once you hit your I get C requirement, we'll talk about it in a little bit, or your classes that you need, you have to transfer somewhere. You can't kind of stay there where you're at. That's why, right, you'll see CC transfers are preferred over 4-year transfers, right? Not saying it's not impossible, because we've had a few students who did 4-year to 4 years, but keep in mind with 4-year transfers, right? What's the reason why you're transferring? I think that's going to be the big key itself. Okay. That's going to be the biggest key of all, why you are transferring here. Okay. So that's going to be the biggest piece here. Again, doesn't say go to community college or not. And typically, if it was me, I always try to work smart through this whole process. If I can save a lot of money, right, and also ensure that my transfer rate is a little higher than some other folks, community college is probably the best path if you guys are going this way. Again, let's say you can't go 4 years. You can. Just be a little harder to get in compared to a 2-year transfer here. Okay. But just like high school freshman admissions, there's 3 factors that are really important. There's the academics, there's the activities, and the applications itself. So starting first with the academics. So what's unique about a transfer student's academics? It's a lot more straightforward than a high school student, right? High school students are a little kind of varied as well too, but with community college students or 4-year students, it's pretty simple as well too. For the purposes of this training, I'm going to focus on community college transfers as well too. If you are a 4-year to a 4-year transfer, just apply what I'm telling you to your 4-year. But if not, I got to create like a lot of scenarios. So I'm going to focus just on community college to a 4-year transfer for the rest of this training. Okay. So the first stop is when it comes to the academics, right? Your focus is on completing 2 things, right? One is your general education requirements. And the second piece of this is going to be the pre-major or the prerequisite courses, right? Those are the 2 classes that you're going to try to finish out, okay? So when it comes to the general education, right? Everyone has these requirements out there at the community college. If you're in California, this is called IGETC, right? The Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum, right? Also, if you're in IGETC, basically there's 7 areas, right? 7 areas of classes you need to take, right? For example, area 1 is going to be English. You got to take 2 to 3 classes in this area. Area 2 is math, 1 class from this area. Area 3 is arts and humanities. You need to take, I believe, 3 classes from this area. Area 4 is going to be social behavioral sciences, 3 classes from this area. Area 5 is science. I believe it's 2 classes from this area plus lab. And then last one is going to be area 6, which is language other than English. I believe it's 1 class here, right? Class here. There is an area 7 now it's called ethnic studies. And then it's 1 class as well too. All right. So this is the classes that you need to take for your general education courses. Okay. Is number 1. A little pro tip, a little side comment for those of you still in high school. If you noticed, this is something that we recommend you do through dual enrollment. I have you guys focus on area 3, area 4. This is why we're double dipping, because we know these classes will be needed at the transfer level. If you transfer, or if you even go directly, we know that classes will be transferable there. Okay. That being said, you want to complete this. The other thing you want to complete is going to be also the pre-major classes itself, right? So the pre-major, they call it prerequisites as well too for your major, right? You basically want to look up your major and look up the classes you need to take. Typically, it's like 3 to 5 classes that are specific in that field. So for example, as a math major for me, I needed to take that's how I applied to college. The prerequisite for the math major at the local community college is like calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, linear algebra, discrete math. Once you finish those 5 classes, in theory, I could be a math major automatically. For computer science was like computer science 1, 2, 3, and like discrete systems and this and that. That's that. So every single one is going to be a little different. I'll do a little bit like a real life example in a little bit so you guys can see what this means as well too. Okay. But this is pretty much what you need to do. It's pretty simple. You'll see that a lot of these classes, the one difference in high school compared to college is that a lot of these classes are sequential. Right? There's a sequential classes. What that means is that certain classes require a pre-class to get to the second class or third class. For example, let's say in math, for your math, you need to take, let's say, calculus 1. But when you take the math placement test, right? Because in college, in community college, there's going to be a math and English placement test to see how high you can skip or how fast you can go. If you don't score high enough, you start lower, right? And if you start lower, you have to get to the required class. You have to go class, 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 class. That is why, going back, right here, right? Community college is typically, right, 2 years. However, you may have heard stories of, hey, I can't get into my class is full. And because the class is sequential, I can't move on until I pass this class. That's why students are taking longer. That's why you're seeing now the average today is closer to 2.5, 3 years at a community college. Because again, if you don't plan, and if you plan, you're fine. But if you don't plan far enough and you kind of just taking it semester by semester, this is usually what happens to people. Okay. So going back to academics, right? There's sequential classes. You gotta make sure you're taking the right class at the right time as well. Okay. So when it comes to figuring out your pre-major prerequisite classes, a website I like to refer to, again, this is also a California resource, and every state has their own resource. So if you're not in California, feel free to let me know. We can help you guys with that as well too. But for California, it's called assist.org. Assist.org gives you your transferable courses at your school to the 4 year that you are planning to go to as well. Okay, so let's do a live example here. So I am going live right now to some folks here. So those who are here with me live, if you want to help me out, I need a name of a community college. Bonus points if it's in California, so we can use this. If not, we can still do it. We have to like look up the corresponding term. So if the people here in chat can help me out, give me a name of a school, right? Is number 1, a community college, and number 2, give me a major that we're gonna try to transfer to a school there, right? It's what school we want to go to, what school, and a major as well. Right. First school I see was College of Marin. And then I see we want to do computer science, right? I picked 2 different people, is all right. So College Marin, computer science. Yeah, you can do it yourself as well too. Oh, and what schools do we want to go to? That's the other picture. What 4-year schools do we want to look into and consider? Current CC, major, and 4-year school as well. UC Berkeley, I see that. Cool. Let's do this, right? So I'm at the College of Marin. I want to be a computer science transfer to UC Berkeley, right? Let's talk about it. So first off, first thing I want to do is I want to look up this, right? I'm assuming this is from California. It sounds familiar. It is in California. Beautiful. So what I want to do is look up iGetsy, right? I look up iGetsy. So here, I think you guys can still see my screen on a different tab, right? So all I did was I look up the college and the word iGetsy, right? Again, every state has its own thing. So you guys can definitely check that out, right? And I'm gonna look at iGetsy first. So here's a list of classes. Like I mentioned, here's area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Is what they have here. Yeah, 7 here. And there's a few other requirements at the very bottom as well too, okay? So you'll see, so let's say for area 1, I need to take English 150. That's a non-negotiable. I need to take no matter what. Then I got to take 1B, 151, or 155. And if I want to go to a Cal State, I need to take a communications class, which is funny because if you not only apply to UCs, you don't have to take an extra class. So there's only two classes here to take, right? So you guys could kind of take here, for example, 150, and I'm going to plan to take 151. Oops, 151. Oops, 151 is the, oh, no, whoever did this chart is doing it wrong, right? So is that math? I can take a math placement test to see how I'm at there, okay? So this is the class list one. Again, you can probably map it out and figure out where do we need to go. Again, the placement test, let's say, for example, right? Because these are just numbers. We have no clue what numbers are. So College of Marin uh, class catalog. Another pro tip for you guys, the catalog tells you every class the school offers, right? So that's a really good tip for you. Catalog is a list of all of the schools of the community college classes. A fun little pro tip for you guys, right? A fun little pro tip for you guys. Make sure you download a copy of your catalog of when you start at the community college, right? One thing you'll find out is that schools sometimes, again, they don't do this a lot, but sometimes they do, they change the requirement up. They say, hey, to be this, you got to add this now. However, right, your requirements is when you started at the school. So in theory, if you have a copy of the catalog saying you need to do this, then you can kind of petition it if it falls. Again, schools are very, very slow, so you probably never have to do this. But in case they do, when you're a community college student, it's a good little pro tip to keep at the back of your head. Okay, back in the day, well, you have to physically hold a catalog book. Luckily, nowadays it's all digital, so we're good to go. So I'm gonna look at catalogs here. You'll see that I can look up program and class descriptions, and then there you go. I can look up math, right? So when I look up math, this will tell me what all these numbers are. There's so many numbers on here, right? But I'm looking, you see how calculus 1 with applications is math 121, right? Math 121 is calculus 1. I know for a fact that for computer science, I need to do calculus 1, calculus 2, and calculus 3. Might even be math 123, 124, and 223 also, right? We'll find out in a little bit. But let's say I take the math placement test and I actually score back here in college algebra, right? That means I have to work my way up. When you actually click these classes, it'll show you, hey, prerequisite for this class is these math classes, right? Math 104 and 105 or 109. Yeah, see that? Right? So for me to take, let's say I didn't place into 123, right? Did I take to 104? I could take 104 first, right? This one has okay, it has intermediate algebra, right? And 105 college algebra. So if I didn't place into 123, I'd have to spend 2 semesters. Actually, no, in theory, they aren't relying. I can, in theory, take both classes at the same time, right? College algebra and plain trigonometry in the same semester. Again, a lot of math, but in theory, you can because there's no requirement for each other too, right? So that's kind of how college classes are set up. This is a little preview for college classes once you get to the 4-year schools, right? That's the setup here. You see, that's why, like, if you don't plan far enough, you're going to be like, oh no, I got to take this other class too. And you got to keep adding it on as well. Okay. So this is the iGetsy list. You can plan that as part 1. The other one is going to be assist.org, right? So when it comes to assist, what you're going to do is you're going to type in the school that you're at. We're at what? Marin, College of Marin. And where do I want to go? I want to go to Berkeley, right? Go to Berkeley as well too. And you view the agreement there, right? So basically, and this is where you select your major. I want to be a computer science major, computer science, right over here. So then you'll see a chart on this side that has Berkeley, the school I want to go to, and the school that I'm coming from, which is right here on the side. When you scroll down, you'll see, all right, at this school, at Berkeley, for example, if I went to Berkeley to be a computer science major, I have to complete a few prerequisite classes. This is why, again, a lot of you guys, especially high school students, you're so focused on your major that no matter what school you end up going to, what if you fail a prerequisite class? that means you can't be that major. So don't stress out too much about major. It's like I think I want to do that. That's why a lot of schools don't admit by major. They admit more by college, right? There are some schools that do admit by major, but again, if you don't if you don't pass the prereq classes, you can't even be that major anyway. So keep that in mind, okay? But as a community college student, you kind of aim at, yes, I am going to be that. I'm going to do fine. So at Berkeley, for example, you take Math 1A, Math 1B, 54. One of the following. So this one you see A and B. So these two, and B is one of these, right? And then highly recommend. Highly recommend means you should do it, by the way. Just like in high school, anything, if they offer it, you can do it. So at this school, I'm seeing that I got to take 123, 124, right? And one of these, right? So you see how this one has no course articulated with it? That means there's no class at Marin that will transfer to Berkeley. So either I do Math 116 or 116 and 224. If I were you, I would do this because this is the easier requirement to do. Again, if you have time, go for 224. You probably need it for other schools, but keep in mind there, okay? And same thing here. What classes are offered? Computer science, 220 at our school. How can I add that to my academic schedule as well too, okay? That's that. What I would, another pro tip, right? So real quick, remember in your heads, guys, 123, 124, 116, 224, comp sci 220, okay? Let's say I'm thinking about another school. Let's say instead of, I'm also aiming at, let's say UCLA, right? As well too. And same thing, I'm also aiming for computer science at the same school too. So computer science, right? So computer science here, I'm looking, and then you're seeing, oh, at this school, right? They require different requirements, right? Different requirements here, and math, which is you'll see in a little bit, right? Another one, physics here, more physics, English classes, and no class here as well too, right? So you see how UCLA has a lot more requirements than Berkeley. So going back to the right side, right? This is what I would do strategically if you're a transfer student. I will list out all the schools you want to go to, and you want to match because you got to work smart through this process as well too. So you see how Berkeley required math, computer science 220. They require 220 as well too. So that means, hey, if I take this, it counts not only for Berkeley but for UCLA. You see how this class will also do computer science 235. Berkeley didn't require it. So again, how bad do I want to go to UCLA? Because if I don't want to go to UCLA as bad, I could probably skip that for right now and do the other things in play. But if I really, really want to do UCLA, let's try to get that as much as I can, right? Is there. When it comes to math, you guys remember the numbers as well too? Here, there's math 123, math 124, 223, 220 the same, 116, 224, and 117, right? So most of the same except for these 223s and 117 as well too. So that there'll be additional classes that I would take if I was going the UCLA route. And there's more. There's physics 1, 2, 3, right? 207 A, B, C, and this and that. So I would do it strategically with all of your classes and your requirements to see how you can double dip. The key here is you want to double dip as much as you can, right? Take all of the duplicates first before you go into the one-offs, right? That's the key, right? That's the key. And you kind of also kind of figure out what school you want to go to, because the more schools you have, the bigger list of classes you got to do. But again, if all of them require Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, let's make sure we get that done. If all of them have this computer science class, let's make sure we have that class. Then you hit the other ones as much as you can as well too, okay? Keep in mind, some schools are very strict about this, right? Some colleges are very strict about certain prereq classes, right? And some are not, right? Like, for example, going back to the example earlier, USC is not that strict because, again, they 1 year, right? So they're like, yeah, do as much as you can in 1 year. We'll take care of the rest. Certain schools, however, in certain majors, they do require everything. That's why some students, again, can't get done in 2 years, they might have to do a third year to squeeze it in as well too. Okay, so that is the academic component. You guys can play with this and see what combination of classes you gotta do. Just a heads up that the more competitive majors will probably require you to kind of stack up a little more than just regular classes and do a little extra. And also it might require you to do summer classes as well too. A little pro tip, I do recommend summer classes as well too for community college, because again, when it comes to the transfer route, you don't have that much time, that much classes to kind of demonstrate. So the more you can add, the more you can show you are good to go there, right? One little pro tip that we tell our high school families, we'll tell you guys as well too. There's a really cool website called ratemyprofessors.com. You can go and look up the professor, because unlike high school, right, when you look up these classes, look real fast, college brain class schedule. Let me show you the rule. So let's say, hey, I want to take the math class, math 123, right? So I'm gonna go here and look for the, oops, spring semester. I want to look for, oops, I want to look for math. No, the website's not good. Math, right? Math, and then I'm looking for what? Math 115? No, 123. Math 123 as well too, right? You'll see at this school there are two teachers, actually two classes here. One's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. One's a Monday, Wednesday class. Both of these classes are in person. So this is not online. This is in-person classes, right? They're both taught by Kentfield. In fact, most of these classes are taught by Kentfield at this school. Wait, is that? Oh, sorry. That's the campus. My bad. Wrong column. The teacher, the instructor right here. So math 123. Here, there's two teachers teaching 123. There's Dan Zafran and Farhad Zabihi, right? So when you go to ratemyprofessors.com, you type in your school's name. So for example, Marin, right here, College of Marin, and I think it's the first one, right? And then you look up the teacher's name, right? So the teacher's name, the first teacher here is Zafran. So you look at Zafran's is Dan Zafran. There's two of them, so you can poke around all of them. But this one, no reviews. Let's look at the other Zafrans. This one, so some good, some not so good as well too, right? You can roll down and actually read the reviews of this teacher. And then there's one more for this person, yeah, as well too, right? Again, you can read through the professor. The other professor teaching this is Zabihi, right? So you look up Zabihi as well too. And this one, even more across the board as well too. So definitely read the reviews and see. Just a heads up, where if you're a community college dual enrollment student, I would tell you strategically pick easy classes, meaning this one avoid. However, if you're a community college student and you have to take this for your major, as you can see, as a computer science student, I need to take one of these classes, pick the better of the two, right? Is the what I would do there, okay? So that is a very pro tip. And that is the academics, right? That's the academics that you're going to have to do. Again, it's more straightforward. A little planning, I would say, goes a very long way here. But you want to get your GEs done and as much of your prereqs done as you can, especially the core ones, get those done first, okay? Next piece is activities. This is the one area a lot of transfer students neglect as well, too. So just like in high school, right? Classes is just part of the picture, right? In fact, it's the easy one. You just pick classes, take them. What you want to do is you want to demonstrate how you spend your time outside of just schoolwork, right? And this is the big one. So again, in school, in high school, you're stuck there, 6 hours a day doing this and that. In college, going back to that class I showed you, right? This math class is twice a week for 2 hours each, right? That's 3 classes. That's 6 hours twice a week as well too, and that's it, right? So you have more time, right? Especially in college, you have way more time. I want to see how are you spending this extra time that you're doing, right? So again, 2 big things that you should have on your activities, right? Things that you love to do and things that you think you like to do. And that's it. That's the key of the activities here. There is actually one more thing, right? So activities actually like this. One more thing. The third thing, because you're a community college student, is activities related to major. I am hoping it does fall under the love to do though, right? So that goes in, but a much better, much more clearer push for stuff related to your major itself. So like, for example, I would love for you to get hands-on experience, right? In what you want to study, internship experience would be awesome. Work experience would be awesome as well too, right? So getting as much hands-on experience in your field as much as you can is going to be super, super solid. Just like our high school families, we give very similar advice when it comes to activities to our transfer student selves. If you're aiming, right, for an Uber school, an Uber elite school, right, you want to aim for maybe 30 plus hours of activities per week, right? If you're aiming, let's say at a UC school, right, 20, 25 plus hours of activities per week as well too, right? These aren't like, hey, I hit it, I'm good. This is, hey, how do you spend your time? Because if you're spending like 20 hours of your week on activities that you enjoy, right? Wow, you're doing a lot more than just the schoolwork side of it. And again, going back, why does this all work? Because we're trying to pick the easiest professors that we can, it's a lot easier to do work as well too. Okay, so that's the activities there. I'm not gonna go super deep because again, it's very similar to a lot of our trainings we teach to our families on that. So you guys can refer to any of our other trainings on here. But the difference will come in the academics and here the applications itself. Like I mentioned, you can either transfer as a first year, transfer with 1 year, or the more common one is transfer with 2 years, right? As I said, you're still applying to the fall and applying out, right? The applications, right, is mostly the same, right? So those of you who are applying, any seniors or not, I asked earlier who's here live with us. We have a few seniors who are here live. I wouldn't think the community college route yet. I would like put it back in your head as an option, right? Still apply normally, but you're going through the same exact application that the transfers do. If you guys notice, the very first or second page of your apps, they asked you, are you a freshman or a transfer? And that's it. That's the only difference really in the app. Again, a few more things, but that's the big one, right? So the app is pretty much the same. It's going to ask for personal information about who you are. It's going to ask about academics information as well too. So it's going to ask you about your classes that you take, but this is specifically college, right? College classes you've taken and the grades you've received so far. That's why first 1 year is hard because you actually haven't finished a year yet, right? Here versus if you're applying as a second year, right? You have at least a full year's worth of classes and grades to demonstrate, right? Is that, and then some students might ask for high school information, right? Because the reason why you can go back 5 years on these apps. That's the one thing it has. You can go back 5 years. Same thing with activities, right? It's going to ask you for activities. It's going to ask you for the hours per week, weeks per year that you spent on here. Same thing. You can also go back 5 years and to share things there. Because again, the colleges know, hey, as a transfer, so you probably didn't do a lot in 1 year, but looking back a few years, right, what have you accomplished as well too? Okay, so that's that. The biggest difference here will come in the application, specifically the essays. Right, that's gonna be the big difference here between the two. And when it comes to the essays, right, let's talk about the UCs first. The UCs, the reason that's part of the bigger difference is that the UCs have 4 personal insight question prompts for you to pick from, right? And you choose out of 8 prompts. For transfers, this is for freshman years, this is freshman, right? For transfers, right, you have, it's 1 required PIQ plus choose 3 out of 8, right? That's the difference of the 2 prompts, of the 2 grades, right? The 1 required, ask this simple question: what is your major and what have you done to demonstrate that, right? It's pretty much, they probably say in better words, but basically, what's your major and why? That's I say that. What is your major and why is that your major? That's why when you go back, I told you guys, hey, get hands-on experience in here because now you can say, I've taken the classes and I've done the things in the field, and that's why I know I want to be this major going on. It's a little different. Freshmen high school students, 14, 16, 17, 18-year-olds have no clue, right? But because you're adult, legal adult now, right? You can explore and do more things that you're like, you know what? I've tried it. I actually do like this. This is actually really fun. Again, could you transfer majors and switch majors in college? You can, right? Nothing you can't. But, right, they're giving you the 2 years to kind of know, hey, I really want to go on this route. Let's go down this specific route as well, too. Okay. That's pretty much the gist of the transfer method, as well too. Yeah, so pretty much very, very similar there. A few big perks is that you get to save a bunch of money. If you go the transfer route itself, I love the transfer route there for that reason. But in terms of preparation, we had very similar things. Academics is more straightforward and more calculated to plan out. One other note, I see, actually, let me do a little thing. We'll do Q&A. I see this is a quick question as well too. But before we go into Q&A, if you guys enjoyed this, if you guys are interested in seeing if we can help you guys with this journey, whether you're a high school student navigating the high school admissions experience, or you're a transfer student yourself, we just actually enrolled a transfer student earlier today. So this is a really awesome topic, very time-sensitive topic for me. So here, if you guys are interested, we are offering free 15-minute coaching calls for new families who are interested in learning, seeing where your child is at, and see if we can help point you in the right direction. If we decide not to work together, no worries, no bad feelings here. We just want to help you guys out with this initial call. And then we're not going to sell you anything. You can't even buy anything on this call either. But if you're interested, you let our team know. They'll schedule a second call. They'll talk about our program services to help you guys out with this journey. Okay. That being said, let's go ahead and just dive into some Q&A together. The one question I saw here in the chat, which was my question I was going to bring up, is honors, right? There is something called the honors programs at these colleges, right? Can you do those? You could, right? As well too. It's just a lot more work. It's just a lot more work. But I would weigh the impact, right, as well too. It's not gonna be you must have this or not. I think it's a really good thing. If you have it, go for it there. Okay. The other one I see here as well too is the guarantee, right? There is something special about transfers that freshmen don't get, right? So the thing about transfer admissions, this is again specific to California. All the states kind of have something similar though, but specifically to California, there's two things. There's the first one called the transfer admissions guarantee. This is called TAG, right? So the TAG program is offered at every single community college across California, right? This is not at a 4-year school, but is offered at the community college level. The transfer admissions guarantee states that as long as you have a certain GPA and met certain requirements. I think the GPA is like 3.0 or 3.4 or something, and you met certain requirements like the classes you take, you're guaranteed admissions to their partner colleges. Right? So there's a list of schools that you say, I'm going to tag to this school. And then the counselor signs the agreement. Awesome. As long as you take your classes, you pass them and you do good enough, right? You're guaranteed in. You apply still, but you're guaranteed admissions to that school, no matter what. Little caveats real fast before you guys start. Oh my God, oh my God. UCLA and UC Berkeley are not on any tag agreements. Right. And I think even more schools now are off. I think UCI is no longer part of it, and a few others, right? So not every single school is on there, but if you're looking to do tag and then your school is on it, that's a easy, guaranteed way to do it. To find out, just talk to your community college, right? Ask them, hey, what tag agreements do you have? Because again, parents, if our goal is to get into certain schools from a strategic point of view, and they do community college for 2 years and they're guaranteed into this school after they're done, you save a lot of money and they're going to graduate and have the degree come from that 4-year school anyways. There is something else called the TAP program. I forget the acronym, transfer admission something, right? This is a program UCLA and UC Berkeley offer, right? That it helps increase admission chances. This increases admission chances because it shows that, hey, it's like a special curriculum that you go in addition to it as well too. So I would look into the TAP program if you guys are interested in that route of the transfer, you transfer into those two schools. Look into the TAP program at your community college. they can definitely help you guys out with that as well. Cool. Think that is all the questions I see here in the bank. So again, that being said, one more time, if you guys are interested, hope you guys found that useful. If you did, let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this on the platform, social media platforms, go ahead and drop a like down below as well. And if you are interested, again, to redeem your free coaching call with our team, can't buy anything, just to see where you guys are at and see if we can help you guys out with anything there. If you have any further questions, feel free to slide in my DMs, email me, text me. Happy to help as much as I can. And that is pretty much it. So I'll see you guys in the next video.